Here are some highlights of this program. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brainstorm exclusive interview.
Our education should be corrected, adapted, and updated.
Live better, they can send their children to school because they can interact with their authorities.
Mechanics, electricity, computer science, innovation,
And we know that is a brainstorm. You yourself, after watching this interesting program, notice the final statement made by our notable guest, a brand new one. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brainstorm Broadcast. In many parts of the world, the families are struggling just to help make ends meet because they face economic crisis, among others, the rising cost of living in situations like education, housing, and even many problems they're going through. How can they cope with this problem? Now, today's theme is the rising cost of living, how families are adapting. So we host on our set our friend Rodrigue Bonsole. Rodrigue Bonsole is a politician. Hello, sir, and welcome to this program.
Hi, my friend Guy. Very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Yes, I know it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Whenever I receive calls from you, I try to make my schedule, arrange it to be here on time. But when you don't see me here, it means we have trials. Sometimes we got to go to work. Sometimes we have to go to church. We have to plan more about schedule to be here. Reason why you see I'm absent.
Okay, one more time, and thank you. Interestingly, whenever you show up, you have wonderful ideas to share with the audience. And today's topic is the rising cost of living, how families are adapting. So understanding the rising cost of living, what does this term mean to you?
I just took my dictionary. I opened to the Oxford one. I saw the term cost of living refers to the total amount of money required to cover basic expenses such as housing, food, taxes, health care, and other necessities in specific place and time. It is often used to compare affordable life in different cities or countries. We have, if I want to give a definition for the cost of living, it is the expense of maintaining a certain standard of life, including essential like rent, groceries, transportations, health care, and so forth and so on.
Okay, so now understanding this concept will allow people, if once they grasp it, to know when it comes to the rising cost of living, how to cope with this. And you personally, have you noticed the change in the cost of living in recent years, or in what areas?
In my country, for example, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, we have many problems that require much more about money. But if you try to see the majority of the people, they are not working a lot. Many of them just used to make informal, like pay phones, like selling food in front of the compound. They do not much more, give the importance of producing and to export, which makes the inflations come to the Congo, and you see we don't have a standard of life well.
Okay, so now we want to know the main causes of rising of living costs. So this is, you can tell us some of the causes of that, and who are responsible? The parents, or people, citizens, or the statesmen who are responsible for the cost of living?
In the African countries, for example, we have sub-Saharan countries like Congo. The people depend on government a lot. I talked to you before when I came that we have trials. We have things that we don't have a word, to give a kind of a word or to impose to the state or the country to obey. Basically, if you have, for example, the Congolese francs, we have the inflations coming every single month and every single year. For example, last year the Congolese francs was in a rate of 28, and today we have 22 or 23. How can you keep your money well or keep a certain situation of living life in the Congo when you don't produce war? We have so complicated ourselves by giving to the government the power of taking care of the people. But in America, for example, we have the people, they just try to make their own businesses, they invest, and after investing, they import and export the stuff they try to make themselves there in the country. And after there, all of them, they do not take care of what government will give to them because people have the ability to produce. Well, here in Congo, we don't produce, we just consume from the state. It makes much more complicated.
Okay, from a global perspective, things are like that. But now if you want to be focused on Congo, as a family head, you can speak even on behalf of other family heads, which sector, which areas requires a lot of expenses in terms of cost of living, the most of the cases today?
In Kinshasa, for example, we have the housing. In housing, the rent of the house costs much more to the budget of the families. And after the housing, we have food. The food in the market, the prices of the food are not the same. If you are in downtown, like in Gombe, you will buy a kind of a potato in expensive one. But when you go to Mongafula and others area, you will buy cheaper. The standard for life is very different from the areas.
Okay, the rising cost of living, many families are coping with this situation and they need to adjust or to adapt to what happens to their family economically speaking. So we're going to watch this video highlighting inflation and the cost of living. So please take a look at this and we'll be back.
Have you noticed that your dollars just don't stretch as far as they used to? Maybe you bought a sleeping bag a few years ago for $140, but when you went to the store the other day to get a new one, the price shot up to $200. That, my friends, is inflation. The increase in the price of goods or services over time, and the bane of campers everywhere. Let's take a look at the numbers. Did you know that $100 in 1915 was worth $2,056 in 2015 in terms of purchasing power? That's an increase of 1,956% in 100 years. Pretty crazy, eh? These days, the average annual rate of inflation is around 3%. In English, that means the price of stuff, like sleeping bags, costs around 3% more each year. Just about now, you're probably wondering, why, oh why, does stuff have to cost more each year? Ready for a brain twister? That sleeping bag is actually worth the same it was when you bought it a few years ago. It's the value of your money that's gone down. At this point, you're probably yelling at your screen. What? Why is my money losing value? The answer is complicated, but the simple explanation is that it's usually caused by the government printing more money. As more money is issued, the value of each dollar decreases, and as a result, prices inflate because each dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. Sad but true, my northern brothers and sisters, camping gear isn't getting any cheaper. I'm afraid all we can do is save and shop wisely. Till next time, this is your friendly Northern Financial Survival Guide, signing off.
All right, now let's shift to another subtitle, Impact on Families and Society. with the rising cost of living. So how does the rising cost of living affect your family life? Generally speaking, you mentioned housing, but
Yeah.
you could tell us about the impact or the consequence of the cost of living or rising cost of living in many families today.
But we have, I would, for example, express for two types of the impact that affect lives. We have, I'm not going to mention about a heart attack or AVC, but I'm going to mention much more about the poverty. In the Congo, if you rent an expensive house and you spend much more money to pay for food, and you often spend money for transportation, and you spend money to pay for teachings or schooling for the children, you will become poor, which requires to the people, to have a certain planning of what you have to spend. Because if you rent for an expensive house and you don't have much more money to gain in your pocket, you'll become yourself, pocket out. Reason why the people often say that you put the devil in your pocket. But you have to, first of all, to plan for how can you use your money, whether less or more, to maintain a certain standard of life. Because if you try to spend it, you will get much more poor, and it will affect your health. You'll go to the hospital or die sooner.
Okay. So as also a part of the family, I can say family breadwinner, reality is the facts. That's why you can talk about this impact. But now let's talk about young people. What kind of challenges are they facing when it comes to expenses related to the rising cost of living?
I have a very good memory of myself when I was a young man. I didn't spend much more money. I was living in the house of my father. I was eating food from my daddy. I was going to school, and they did all to me. But in the situations of today in the Congo, we have youth, for example, they give themselves, to pay for they make the bet, what you call in French like pari foot. They often go to spend their money there. There's an impact that will affect them in the future if they do not care much more about their future. All of them, they will kind of become a kind of dependent to gaining money, but without producing.
Okay.
That will make them in a kind of trouble in the future.
Okay. Now let's touch on purchasing power. When we're discussing inflation at the same time, purchasing power. You earn money, though you work, but you realize that the amount of money you have can't allow you to purchase or to buy whatever you need. So how does inflation influence the people's purchasing power?
Now you try to touch the state problem. This is very good to point out before we speak.
The state problem, but you realize there are some businessmen sometimes, let me say in the transportation area, bus conductors sometimes they change prices on their own. So you think that is the state's matter? So we're talking about the purchasing power for one who gets something but who is not able to buy anything.
Of course, if you say in the countries, for example, like Congo Brazzaville here, the amount of the transportation is known for years. If you live a certain downtown, you go to the suburb, you will spend just the same amount of money. But here, the amount of money changes. The state is weak. Let me say, for example, our Congo state is weak. They don't have the ability to impose to the drivers or to the sellers or to other people to have one unique price. This causes the poverty to the families. I am paid, for example, $100, and I use $50 just for transportations. And I've got to spend 20 or more for food. I've got to spend 10 or more for hospital or for schooling for my children. And how much you're going to get in the end of the month? Nothing. So the state has a large work to do, in Congo to make people become in peace.
Okay, so in view of what you just said, do rising prices change people's priorities and lifestyle choices?
Of course, this is definitely true.
How?
I don't want to come back to what we gave as a definition here, but I want to move forward. Do you pay the same price of the house for 2 years? The answer is no. Do you buy the same food for 2 years? The answer is no. Do you change the amount of dollars for 2 years? No. It means the rate changes. People, they are adapted by the situation they go. As soon as we move, or as fast as we move on, things changes and affect you, and you will, become dependent to it. The thing is, the most important thing is, to make a kind of investment. You got to invest yourself. If you get your money, you have to make your own business. You don't want to depend to the Congolese state. You have to make your own business to become stable.
Okay, we're talking about the rising cost of living, how families are adapting. So the video we're going to watch right now, focusing on how families sometimes struggle, how do they adjust when there is a rising cost of living. So please pay attention to this following video, and we'll be back.
What would you like?
Annette Formosa never thought she'd be relying on others to put food on the table. Now, though, she can't see any other way.
We'll starve. There'll be no food.
The Western Sydney mother hasn't always needed the help of her local community.
It's so expensive. Like, before you can buy the 2-minute steaks, they used to be $5 a tray, 10. Now it's $10. And it's just like, sometimes when you've got $50 to do the week shopping, that $10, you just can't do it.
Last year, 1 in 6 Australian adults struggled getting enough food to eat. And now inflation is the highest it's been in 2 decades. Community services in the outer suburbs have seen an increased demand for food hampers, which has now become an essential part of their service.
So many people, with all the rising costs of living, so many people just need that little bit of extra help to get through the weeks.
What fresh stuff are we giving out today?
Experts say when times get tough,
We got some cauliflower, potatoes.
and things like rent and petrol have to be paid for, food is the first to go. Thank you. In Melbourne's northwest, this community centre feeds 300 families a week.
We're certainly noticing people that are trying to get help, vouchers, food, where they haven't had to before.
Here's your bag, yeah?
Imad Abughud has been coming weekly for the last few months. It all went downhill when his car broke down and he lost his job. He's feeling the pinch, and it might even decide which political leader gets his vote.
If they help me, I'll help him. We are Australia. Yeah. If they don't help me for living, for food, why election for him?
They talk the talk, but they don't know what it's like not to be able to give your child something they want. Like spend a day how we live. They couldn't.
She hasn't heard anything yet that will decide her vote. Ahmed Yusuf, ABC News.
All right, now the third subtitle is Adaptation and Financial Strategies. What practical strategies can families use to manage their budgets?
They have to save. They have to save their money, first of all.
You think that Congolese families have the saving culture?
70% of the Congolese people, they don't save. They make a kind of a stone. They save their money to peoples. And it is not fine, really, but it helps in the future. But the thing is, the people, they have to make a certain kind of planning, because we have a lot of the uncertainty.
Okay.
Things comes by its own way,
Right.
and affect you.
So does it take inflation, does it take financial education when it comes to saving money?
Yeah, it takes, financial education is something which is very important for the children, but the saving money requires much more intelligence, to keep it well for the financial education. If you have a lot of children, you will spend much more money, and that require you to produce much more money.
Okay, we cannot leave everything in families' hands or parents' or heads and on their own. The community needs to help as well. So how can communities support families facing economic difficulties?
The community, they have to be stable. They don't have to follow what the state or the people do. For example, if they hear the rising price somewhere, the community, they have to keep their mental down. We have seen in the Congo, for example, for years, if you say you hear the dollars went up, every shops, they rise up their products. This affects the community. So we have to cooperate. The government, people, and all of the people around the Congo, they have to cooperate to teach the community that you don't have to rise up food when you hear dollars come up. So you have to be stable. Don't hurt your friends because it hurts you back. If you put the price up, that stuff is going to hurt you back.
Okay, when it comes to a rising cost of living, families are able to adjust or to adapt easily. So the following video will help you highlighting a situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, how when it comes to healthcare, families cope with. Please take a look at this and we'll be back.
Walking through the rubble-strewn streets of Goma, Ernestine Baleke is 6 months into her pregnancy. But what should be a happy occasion has become a source of worry for the young woman, who says she can't afford the financial cost of giving birth.
When I go into labor, I wonder where I will find the money. We don't have jobs. What's more, there is no longer any free healthcare. I don't know how I'm going to manage.
All across eastern DRC, the ongoing conflict between the Rwanda-backed M23 and the army has affected the delivery of medical supplies and caused vital infrastructure to collapse. This, coupled with widespread unemployment and a budding economic crisis, means women like Baleke are finding it increasingly difficult to afford maternal care. In 2023, the Congolese government introduced a free healthcare program for pregnant women, a life-saving initiative according to medical workers, who saw attendance at maternity wards more than double, but which has since been cancelled by the M23.
It was a good project for us because it helped women give birth at the health center without difficulty. They knew that at the hospital everything would be provided for free.
With the program interrupted since June, a growing number of women in North Kivu are now opting to give birth at home, a decision driven by financial rather than medical imperatives that exposes them to preventable complications and increases the risk of maternal mortality.
Now, we are going to the final the point is like a solutions and future perspectives. So what role should the government play in reducing the cost of living?
And it is, I have two choices. For example, the government have to produce much more. In Congo, we have raw materials. Raw materials like diamond, copper, and this stuff, it helps Congo to gain, the Congolese francs to gain value.
Mm-hmm.
If the Congolese francs get more value, prices will come down. The dollars will come down, and people will be, will afford to pay for cheaper things in a lower price. The key person to help the people, that is the government.
Okay.
They have to produce much more. In the Congo, we have in Kinshasa, we have 20 million of the people. All of us, we depend on the government because we don't create fields, we don't have a farm, we don't go to the farm, we don't go to fish, we don't go to the field. We depend on the rate, the stability of the Congolese francs. But in the village, for example, in South Africa or European countries, they have farmers. They can go to farm, they can raise up, tomatoes and oxen and pork. It will help the community to have much more food to eat. But in Kinshasa, we don't produce. We just depend on copper, on the value of the Congolese francs.
Okay, now, is there any role that the technology can play in when it comes to saving money, how can family as well resort to technology to save their money, to improve financial management?
African countries, we are not yet in the level of saving money in technologies. This is the level of America. I've seen here we have MyGold, we have Bindu on this such stuff. People want to save their money, and we were receiving like bitcoins on phones.
Yes.
Okay, we will have a bitcoins of $2,000, and when you go to take money from the bank, they will talk to you that you don't have anything here. In technologies, it lies to you. It helped you just on the face, but when you go deeper, it lies to you. This is the technologies that will come, but today we have to think much more about saving money in your own.
Okay, so before we conclude, I'd like you just to say a word about what long-term solutions could create a better economic future for families.
Better economic future for families. It is we have to think much more about work. I talked to you here, developed countries, for example, like South Africa, the government has given to the families money to make farms, even in your own house, to study, to go, for example, abroad to learn how can you multiply your money. But this is something which is very different from Congo. In Congo here, the government don't help you to get money, and they don't help you to buy, or they don't help you to make a plan for the future. The mentalities of the people now will go to the bribery.
Okay.
Reason why you see the drivers, when they drive a car, they give to the police people money to let them go. Even though the car is bad or broken, even those dealers, just live in a bribery. This is something too bad. They have to change. We have to change.
Okay.
We have to change this situation forever.
Okay, we have to change the situation for better. And I realize that you have a lot to say. So I think in the days ahead, we'll prepare more other issues. Thank you so much, Rodrigue Bonsole, for joining us.
Thank
it was really wonderful, a great conversation.
Thank you so much, my friend.
The rising cost of living, families are adapting well. This was today's topic. We discuss many aspects of the rising cost, and we focus on families, globally speaking, and especially in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We were very happy to have you many watch today's program, and we look forward to having you many in the days ahead to discussing and breaking down other issues. Thank you so much for watching, and bye. Here are some highlights of this program. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brainstorm exclusive interview.
Our education should be corrected, adapted, and updated.
Live better, they can send their children to school because they can interact with their authorities.
Mechanics, electricity, computer science, innovation,
And we know that is Brainstorm. You yourself, after watching this interesting program, notice the final statement made by our notable guest, a brand new one.